Hello and welcome to part 5.2 of the BMS Modding tutorial series. In this video I will show you how to quickly transfer a weapon from one database to another one. I'm using the Brimstone 2 missile as an example, and I will transfer this weapon from the EF 2000 Retro version 1.12 database for Falcon BMS 4.37.8 to the new EF 2000 Delta Mod database for BMS 4.38 update 1 hotfix 1. Okay, I have opened the editor, or better said the databases with the editor of both versions, so you can without problems open multiple databases with the editor concurrently. First, we take a brief look at the Brimstone 2 missile, which is available in both versions. So the Brimstone 2 is not a new weapon in the database as such. And what's important to verify, nevertheless, is that the database record entries, the links, the index numbers are the same. So we have the index number 685 and the class table record number 3608, and the same is also true for the stock database. At the moment, EF 2000 data uses the one-to-one database of KTO, with the exception of the GBO48 that I've added in the last video, subpart 5.1. So the only real difference in this case is definitely the SIM weapons data entry. In stock KTO, the Brimstone 2 is using the same SIM weapons data record entry as the Brimstone 1 missile. And in EF 2000 Retro, it has its dedicated SIM weapons data record entry, because I have changed the guidance from not working to laser guided. So why is it not working? Brimstone 1 has been messed up at some point, I think with some update in 4.37. As you can see, weapon type here is optical in the sim weapon data, but guidance is laser herein, and there are some other issues with this. Can't say out of my head whether the weapon in both Brimstone 1 and 2 missiles are working in stock KTO at all. So in this case, we simply transfer the data for the Brimstone 2 from EF 2000 Retro to EF 2000 Delta. So it's just important, that's what I wanted to show you, that you check out whether the links are all the same or not, to ensure that you are not erroneously overwriting some wrong stuff, or that things are no longer working because the links are not correct. That's always very important to check out, because if links are possibly missing, that's the worst case. Even if you have a link, but if the corresponding record entry doesn't exist in the database by the time, then you definitely get a problem. It might happen that the editor will crash, you cannot open it anymore unless the problem is fixed, but that can in such a case only be done if you either have made a backup copy in advance, or if you directly edit the data within the XML files. So XML file is the key at this point. So I have to close the editor, or both editors for the time being, and we now simply go to the database folder, tear data objects. That's on the left side EF 2000 Retro, on the right side it's EF 2000 Delta. And as explained in previous videos, we have essentially 3 database record entries for the weapon. So it's a class table. We begin with that one first. It was CT record number 3608. I could verify this again here. Brimstone 2, 3608. So you can simply search for 3608. Maybe we make a more precise search by including the entire line. Let's change it here. Copy pasting it over so that we can use it here as well. So we now have both next to each other. And now I simply take the content below. That's sufficient in this case. Copy paste it over here. Okay, save on the right side. Left side doesn't need to be saved. So we now do exactly the same with the weapons control data. So in this case, it's the WCT number that you need to search. It was 685. And the same here. Okay. You can of course do this in one step for multiple different entries, so you don't need to change only one at a time. So if you want to transfer more stuff, then it makes of course sense to step by step go through the numbers, in the best case in the descending or whatever ascending, probably more better descending order. So we have now included this here as well. And the final part is the sim weapons data part. This one is in this case particularly important for the simple reason that in stock KTO there is a different sim weapons data record entry being used, and the one in EF 2000 Retro is new at the end of the day, but I haven't checked out the correct number here because what I've shown you, the configuration file, is actually from EF 2000 BTO, so I have to check up what the sim weapon data record entry is in EF 2000 Retro. Sorry for this one. Okay, move it in foreground, sort. B for Brimstone, there it is. Open the CT record entry, and it's in this case written 95. So in this case we need to copy paste 395, but we will be using a different record number, 452, as shown in the config. So in this case, it's one of those numbers at the bottom. We are currently at 451, so it's the last one at the moment. So we add it there to the end. SWD number 395. So it's a Brimstone entry. We copy paste it entirely here. Change the number accordingly, 452. So this ensures that also the links in the CT record are working. That's something that I haven't updated, so I need to redo, not redo this part, but update accordingly. You can use a normal text editor also to work with these files. So you don't necessarily need a dedicated XML editor, but you can of course use one. So we directly edit it here in. At the moment, entity index number is this one. Mover definition. Okay, should be this one. Yeah, it is this one. It's now 452, so it's also updated. Now let's briefly take a look. Whether it crashes or not, it may crash now for the simple reason that the missile pointer is not yet correctly assigned, because the Brimstone 2 missile uses a different pointer, but it nevertheless works. So let us simply check out which missile pointer the Brimstone is using. The missile pointer is the link to the weapon.dat file. So we have to check that one out. Simply opening the weapon, and the missile pointer is located under sim weapons data. In this case, it's a 223. That's in EF 2000 retro. So let's transfer this part. Here the missile data are under sim, and then miss data. So we go to the same folder. And the Brimstone 2 missile.dat file is a custom creation, so to speak. It's based on the original .dat file, which is for the AGM 114K Hellfire. That's actually shared by the Hellfire, Brimstone 1 and 2 missiles and stock KTO. In this case, due to minor differences in data, but most importantly due to the difference in the guidance system, I had to create a separate missile.dat file, as I had to create a separate sim weapons data record entry for the Brimstone 2 missile to work as intended, and that's in this case using laser guidance like the AGM 65K and L missiles. Okay. What we now need to do, because we have added a new weapon data file that's unknown to stock KTO, we go to the mistypes list. It currently has 228 records. We want to add the Brimstone 2, so it's one weapon more. So I increase it to 229 and add the Brimstone 2 here at the bottom. That's the name of the .dat file. The .dat ending is not required, but the name defined herein must be matched by the .dat file name itself, otherwise it won't be recognized. So, and if I recall correctly, it was -2. So that means if I click here in, it shows it's line 230. So the missile pointer would now need to be updated to 228. And we do this within the sim weapons data record entry. Save it, and that's it already. So of course in practice you now do a verification test that the missile is properly working in them. I will save us that this time. And this essentially concludes the part on weapons. For the time being, I will migrate the rest of the weapons manually, but I don't need to show you this in the video. So I will essentially perform the steps that I have performed, copy paste missile dat files so that a new get a new record entry, and also copy pasting the appropriate database record entries and transfer missile models where they are required. Yes, and once I'm done with this, I will finish this work now after the video so that the weapons are in, and then we can go ahead with the next subject matter. So I hope you liked this video, found it useful, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye.